Rock Me Mama.
Welcome back. I'm Macy Pruitt.
And I'm Amy Muriello.
And this is Rock Me Mama.
So
We're going to start with...
we might as well just start.
Yeah, kind of some sad reality.
Today in Nashville, there was a school shooting at Covenant Elementary in Nashville, right next to Green Hills, which is a really nice area. And 3 children were killed and 3 adults and 1 sociopath. And it's just been really, I think we cried all day.
Yeah, it's been a hard day.
Yeah.
It's been a really hard day.
We saw, like, you came over and we just hugged each other.
Kind of fell into each other's
hysterically
arms.
cried.
It's
Obviously been something that happens in this country all the time, and it's completely fucking terrible that we're not doing anything about it. But when it happens, like, in your backyard.
It happens in your backyard and at a school that you know about, and like a very high-end private Christian school in a very high-end neighborhood, it's really scary. And as a parent, it's always been scary, but as a parent, it just brings it to a whole other level of fear, absolute fear.
Well, because it's not like you said, it's not a rich problem. It's not a poor problem. It's not a public school problem or a private school problem. These people thought they were sending their kids to a private Christian, small, set back school that's not like on a it's like this person went there and obviously had a motive, wanted, chose that school. But that's not even the point. The point is that nobody is safe from this. And we, as our little mom squad, we've just been having constant conversations, even before this, because this point, it's like every 2 weeks there's a school shooting. But how do we send our kids to school in this country?
Yeah.
And like, and a lot of people don't have a choice. Most people don't have a choice.
Right.
Most people both parents have to work. Or if you're a single mother, you have to work.
Right.
Or if you're a single father, I mean, it is not a choice.
Like, and we all want to be able to send our we want to be able to send our
time.
kids to school. Like,
And you want it for them.
yeah.
But just the fact that, you can drop your kid off and then not pick them up, was just too much for me today.
Yeah.
It completely wrecked me. And I just found myself tonight just holding Farah and just not wanting to let her go.
Yeah.
Because the thought is so unimaginable, like what these parents are going through right now. Like there are 3 mothers right now that don't have their kids.
Yeah.
9-year-old
kid
kids
to school and don't pick them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and no one's exempt. I mean, this school had little kids, how young were the youngest kids? It was like pre-K.
Yeah.
So that's what, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So it's like I grew up right in Connecticut, right next to Sandy Hook. So that one hit me really hard, but I wasn't a parent.
Yeah.
Columbine happened 25 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And we still haven't figured it out.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not.
It's horrible. I mean, that no words even can describe it. But we wanted to address that. This is not what the episode's about.
No,
we can
but we
stop
didn't
talking about it now. But it's been.
We didn't want to. We're both kind of contemplating homeschooling our kids, even though it's not what we want.
Yeah.
And figuring out some sort of situation where we can. I think is it called pod homeschooling, where you get like a little group and you find a teacher. Anyway, it brings up so much fear. It's so scary being a parent as it is. I mean, there's always something wrong. There's always something happening. 10 times a day she falls and fucking hits her head on something, and I'm like, is this a hospital trip or is this just a bump? And then you factor in the fact that you can't drop them at school. So our heart goes out to those families, and we're thinking about you and every other parent that's ever had to deal with something like this.
Yeah.
We didn't want to just brush over it because it's fucking important.
And the teachers. I can't, teachers are going to school scared as well, and nobody should be going to school scared. So yeah, we can switch to a happier note.
I'm just gonna
but
drink my wine for a second.
we wanted to address that because it's been really the only thing on our mind.
We literally cried all day.
Yeah. We this is kind of a good segue for what this episode is, but I was on a walk, and at 37 weeks pregnant, I cannot make it very far without having to pee. And I knew that Amy had been planning on being in the studio today.
I was at the studio and I left because I couldn't keep it together. I just kept crying, and they were like, "Do you want to not write today?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah.
Unless I write a song about school shootings,
Right.
which I don't really
Let's
feel
not.
like doing. It's not my thing.
But I knew that she was home, and so I texted her. I was like, I have to pee. I cannot make it any longer.
Yeah, I
Can
was like, "Come on in."
And she opened the door, and we both just like fell into each other's arms and sobbed. And like no words were even said. It was just like we just like had that moment that we both clearly very much needed.
We had both been crying because I saw your eyes, and there were tears in my eyes already because I was watching the news. And then you walked in, and we just like lost it.
Yeah, and my friends that are not moms that I was talking to today about this too. I was saying they were asking how we were doing and like, or how I was doing like as a mother. And I said, well, thankfully, like Amy was at home today, and I went over there, and we ended up going on a walk and just kind of like hashing some things out and crying together. And they were like, gosh, I'm so grateful that you have her and your mom friends. And I was like, same. Cause this is just something. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine going through this life, as a mom, but also things like this without having your mom tribe. And then we started talking about how like desperate you are in the beginning when you first become a mom. Mm-hmm. Well, first you're just like traumatized.
Let's switch gears to
let's get a little bit
fun now. We had to get that off of our chest.
But like when you first become a mom, you're like so crazed that you can't think of anything. But then once it settles in a little bit, you just realize that you can't relate to any of your friends really.
Yeah, or
like you love them, but like you can't really relate to them.
Well, and the only thing you want to talk about is your kid.
And or your vagina or your tummy or your,
or like
lack of sleep
how big
or
my boobs are.
Yeah, or the milk spraying from your titties. Like you just want to talk about shit.
Right.
That doesn't really interest people that don't have kids.
Right.
And so you are desperate, and you told me you joined an app.
I did.
And I was on a Facebook group. Yeah. What was the app called?
Well, because what happens is you realize you're like within a very short amount of time, you're like, oh, I need mom friends. Like this isn't like I want them. This is a like I have to have mom friends.
Yes.
But then you're like, how do I make them?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, and also you feel like a dork, and you don't want to come off as like too desperate.
It's awkward.
So you don't want to like approach moms on the street just like because you're like, is this creepy? Am I being creepy?
The new mom, so you're like,
yeah,
they know I'm the new mom. How do I do this? So finding your tribe, finding your mom friend, finding a mom friend, one is very, very difficult. And so I joined the app Peanut, which is online. So it's dating.
It's like online dating, but for mom friends.
I never did the date. What Bumble? What are they?
All of them. There's
I don't even know.
The Tinder. The Tinder. I'm like 40. I'm like 58 years old. The Tinder.
And
the Bumble.
Yes, and the Bumble.
And the Hitch and the Snitch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm making them up. But there's things like that.
Yeah. That's
Hinge.
That's what it is. This Peanut is that for moms. And
so what do you swipe? So you get to pick what your mom friends look like? That's weird.
No, it wasn't great.
Like you legit get to pick what your mom friends look like. You can be discriminatory
based off of pictures
towards other moms.
No, it's
you're
based off of
you're
pictures.
Not my type.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say I could pull it back up, but I mean
it's kind of cool that there's an app. It's not. I don't know that it's like. I mean, I guess a picture's necessary because then you have to meet them somewhere.
A picture's necessary, but people judge based off of one picture.
Yeah,
and
you're like that. Mom's not my look.
I would be lying if I said there were some that I was like, I don't think I'd hang out with her, and not in a mean way.
No, just
it
like
was never
she
like,
doesn't have my
ugly.
vibe.
Like I just
you
could kind of gauge somebody.
You can tell
a little bit of a degree from their
picture.
The one picture that they choose.
Yeah.
They're choosing intentionally.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. God, that's funny.
Yeah, and so I went through.
You're just swiping moms.
Well, and then if you match with one,
then you have to start a
somebody has to
conversation.
start the conversation.
That is so fucking awkward,
Oh,
but also
awful.
hilarious.
I didn't hang out with any of. It never happened.
I would have done it if I knew about it. I didn't know about it.
I
was
made
on
the
Facebook,
effort.
like writing.
Yeah, you did
posts.
You joined a mom Facebook.
I was on like several mom Facebook groups.
You have to.
Well, because I was on several pregnant Facebook groups because during COVID I had nobody. Like I just was asking people on Facebook, like, what happens when you do this, or why am I feeling this?
Right.
And I would get responses from moms. But when I had her, I posted, a picture of her and me on this Facebook group, and you get like likes and comments and all that stuff, and then you just exchange advice. But I never like had any intentions of meeting anyone in person, and I also just like, you never know like who these fucking people are.
Yeah.
But I remember I didn't live where we live now. I lived still in Nashville, but somewhere else, and I didn't have any friends, and it wasn't a walkable neighborhood like this one is.
Yeah.
So I was totally alone, and it is really, I would see moms at like coffee shops or at the park, and I would want to approach them, but I would be like, I don't want to be like creepy or desperate.
Hi, I'm a mom.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a mom. You see that? You're a mom too. Cool. Let's hang out. Yeah.
That's the only thing that goes through your mind. Because that's another factor is when you are freshly postpartum, and I'm talking, when I say fresh, I mean up to even like 8 months. Things aren't, you don't formulate normal.
I think I was fresh for a whole year. I didn't know what the fuck was going on for a whole year.
Any like people skills that you had before becoming a mom, like you could suavely walk up to somebody and like start a conversation.
Yeah.
But once you become a mom, it's like, and like, that's it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know how to come back.
Well, because kids steal your brain.
Yeah.
Literally, the second a kid comes out, you're like, I told you guys, I mime things to my husband all the time. He's like, you want? I'm like, he's like, ice cream? I'm like, yeah, the placenta's your brain.
Yeah.
And it goes.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
I just have no words.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find one yesterday. I was trying to find a word, and the other mom was like, moms get it.
Yeah.
I was like, she's like, a shovel? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But other people besides for moms don't really get it because they're like, no, how could something steal your brain?
No, that happens.
They steal your brain because your whole brain is focused on keeping them alive. And especially, when they're babies, keeping them alive because you're so scared. When they're toddlers, keeping them alive because they're on a mission to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And there's nothing left for you.
No, there's not.
Zero brain.
There's not.
I'm like, if I didn't have a calendar telling me every single thing I have to do during the day, I would do none of it.
Oh yeah. No, totally. They take it. They suck it dry.
Yeah, they suck it.
So you find we
Suck
attempted. oh man. We attempt to make mom friends, realize how hard it is. And then the next part is you put yourself out there and you start trying to hang out with one or two mom friends, and you learn pretty quickly, or at least I learned quickly.
Oh, that they're not.
Just because they're a mom.
Yeah, no.
doesn't
Not all
mean-
moms are created equal.
Right. Which is fine, but there's just different kinds of moms, and I guess the best way to say it is you kind of pick up quickly on the fact that like, okay, she just parents differently than me, which is fine.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be hanging around somebody that has completely different parenting ideas or
because,
beliefs or
Some people are, I mean, you can't, and also as a mom, you realize that you can't fucking judge moms. You just have to step back and be like, that ain't my thing, but go do your thing.
more power to you. Yeah.
But, asshole people raise asshole kids.
Yeah.
And then, people that just don't, there's a middle ground. But for me, it's either a lot of times it's someone that just doesn't even watch their kid at all.
Yeah.
And you're like, your kid's like about to kill my kid. Is that cool with you? Because it's not really cool with me. Mm-hmm. And then there's people that are just so overbearing that you're like, your kid's going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Because you are so crazy.
See, that was the first thing that I learned I didn't click with moms is not even overbearing, but functioning at a high intensity, because I could start to see their kids responding to that and acting out. So I'm trying to think of an example, but like, say we're at a coffee shop, right? And we're trying to pack up and get our things together. Never an easy process. Always stressful.
No, literally takes 45 minutes
Always
to
stressful.
do anything.
But it depends on how you choose to act out that process. And I found the first few mom friends that I found, it was like, okay, come on, we got to stop, sit. And just like this constant, just like stress. And I'm like, okay, I can feel that. I know that my son can feel that.
Yeah.
And I know that your kid feels that.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue to be what he feels.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's the style that I'm like, we're going to take deep breaths. Not in like a way, but like, I don't want my child feeding off of your high level of intensity.
Yeah. And I think that also is like, if people that have multiple kids, I'm like, do whatever you gotta fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, because it's hard enough to have one kid. Mm-hmm. But like, I remember my mom like had 4 of us, and she was just like always stressed. You know what I mean? Like, she was great,
I would be too.
She was amazing. But there were 4 of us, and we were like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Running around. At one point, this is one of my favorite things my mom ever said. We were in the car and we were all like yelling and like doing whatever. And my mom turned around and she said, "Sit down, you little fucks." And my brothers and I just started dying laughing, like almost peeing our pants.
Yeah.
And then my mom started dying laughing. And we were all hysterically laughing in the car when it was a moment that was so stressful. And she said, "Sit down, you little fucks." And we just lost it.
I love that.
It was amazing. It was like one of the best moments because, and we all remember it. We all talk about it because mom just cracked.
Yeah.
Something inside of her was like, not today.
Yeah.
And she probably, who knows if we were traffic, who knows where we were.
Right.
But she just said, enough is enough.
Yeah.
She stopped that car.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and there are moments, let me clarify.
I lose my shit.
There
and I
are
have
moments,
one kid.
I said that like I always function at a very even kill pace. I do not. My husband is also probably laughing if you ever listen to this episode.
He's like, we're going to use our deep breaths.
Yeah, like Chase is like, you aren't high function or high intensity. But because I have moments where I break too.
But I do think it's remarkable
style.
How definitely they break you and they make you crazy and you feel like you're losing your fucking mind. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I have been extremely proud of the level of patience that I have with her. Mm-hmm. Like, I never thought that I would be, I have almost endless amounts of patience with her. When I break, I break.
Yeah.
And then I have to walk away.
Yeah.
And I have to take a moment for me.
But they
and
need
Nick
to
has
see
to
that
step
too.
in. But it takes her yelling in my face for hours on end.
Yeah.
And needing me to pick her up and throwing things around and messing up the house and throwing herself on the ground and not eating a damn thing. It takes a whole day of that for me to break.
Yeah.
And it's shocked me because before being a mom, I would have considered myself one of the least patient people that I've ever met in my life. Mm-hmm. I had zero patience.
Yeah.
And now when things happen, I'm like, shit happens.
Yeah. You have to be that way.
Shit fucking happens. Messes happen, spills happen, accidents happen.
Yeah.
Like, you can't control it.
Yeah. No, and you'll lose your mind if you try to. I would describe myself not as much now, but before becoming a mom as a reactor, not a responder. And that was like, would you say that you would describe yourself as not patient because of the household, maybe not the household you grew up in, but like what you were?
I've just always been very riddled with anxiety. Like, I'm on anxiety medication. You know, like, I'm an anxious person. So, and I'm also a very assertive person, and it can come off abrasive. You know, I speak my mind, as we all know in the mom group.
What do you mean?
I speak my mind.
That's why we love you.
Say what I mean.
Yeah.
And it can come off abrasive. And so I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's for fucking sure. Like, I am. If I'm your cup of tea, then I am definitely your cup of tea. But if I'm not, you can't stand me.
Yeah.
And that is okay.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But
well, and you care less about that when you care less about a lot of things.
But before kids, like, I let everything get to me.
Yeah.
I really did. I took everything to heart. I would leave a room and be like, they were all talking about me, which is also narcissistic. You know, I was just always convinced that everybody was against me. I have a very like deep complex of people talking about me behind my back. I think some of the things that happened growing up, I think I just have always kind of had that high strung feeling of anxiety when I leave a situation. Why did I say that? Why did I do that?
Yeah.
And that has changed
Yeah.
because I don't have time to give a fuck about what people think about me now that I have a human to care for. You know?
Yeah, I think I could say the same about myself, but I have become less of a reactor.
Yeah.
Or less reactive, more responsive. I guess is a better way to say that. And that's something that I really do take pride in, because before becoming a mom, and I can even say that about my relationship with Chase. Like, even if he were to say something that would upset me, it would be quick to react without thinking and just acting off of emotion, based off of, I'm going to take a deep breath and regulate my emotions and figure out how I actually feel and then talk about it, which like you learn really quickly when you become a mom of a, let's say about 18-month-old and up, that their emotions have to be regulated by your
You better
emotions
be calm.
being regulated. And you can't, that they have to learn that from you. And
When
so
you lose it, they lose it.
Yes. And so if I had remained, and I still have my moments, I'm by no means a perfect mom, but if I remained a reactor every time Eli decided that he wanted 3 crackers instead of 2 and threw himself a hissy fit on the floor,
literally threw himself on the ground, and
then it would not be good.
No.
But instead I'm like, okay, I understand that you're frustrated. Like and being able to, speaking for myself, being able to respond instead of react has been really big.
And I think it's also important, like finding your tribe also is a lot about finding who's not your tribe, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, being patient with your kid and all of these tests of your personality and your growth as a human person, all of those tests, like, they also lead you to the conclusion that like you got to cut the fat in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
And when people aren't serving your situation, or if there are people in your life that
if they're draining you,
then you've got to cut your losses.
Well, and
like not all moms need to be friends.
No. You
know, like just because we have kids doesn't mean we need to be friends.
No, we get each other.
I will always like respect that you can take care of your kid, and I will always give you the benefit of the doubt, but I don't necessarily have to be your friend.
Right. Well, and and this speaks to moms or not moms, if somebody is leaving you feeling more drained than uplifted, then like they're not your people. And I think that we have finally found a group that like genuinely roots for the other person.
Yeah, find like, people that really believe in you and want and root for you and lift you up.
Yeah, and
support you.
And that's what, mom or not, that is what friends are supposed to do. You're supposed to be each other's biggest cheerleaders and want the best for your friends and brag about your friend's success and want success for them and all of that. And I think that our group has been able to find that within each other, which has been so great.
Yeah.
And what we were talking about this morning when we were at coffee is another like check for me is feeling okay with leaving my kids with y'all, with more like
and we all do that. Like you know that that I would treat your kid the way I would treat my kid.
Yeah, and that goes for punishment. Sounds like a harsh word, but like scolding if Eli hit Farrah,
Eli did you see Eli hit Farrah in the head with a bowling pin?
With a bowling pin?
A little plastic bowling pin, but it got
whose bowling pin?
Ours. But did you see the big welt?
No.
I didn't want to make you feel bad.
When was this?
I'm telling you on air, honey, but no, the other day.
Oh,
it's fine. Man, He's fine.
They kiss and make up.
They fight. Our kids
God, they fight.
like brother and sister psychotically.
They really do.
They love each other, but they fight.
But they always kiss and make up.
I
Like,
know.
it's so, we don't even like intervene anymore unless it's something like that. It's just like, figure it out, y'all. Duke it out. Because then the next second,
No, they'll go up to each other and be like, "Here's a fruit
like,
snack."
yes, Eli, his pride and joy other than blueberries or he would take a bullet for blueberries before me. So blueberries are first, and then gummies, just like fruit snacks, are next. This afternoon after his nap, or no, it was right after y'all left.
Yeah.
I gave him a pack of gummies, and he goes, "For Farah." And she wasn't even there. I'm like, y'all are so weird.
No, she says it too all the time. She'll be like, "Eli, heart."
They're obsessed with each other.
She'll walk around trying to share something, and I'm like, "Baby, they're not here.
They're obsessed with each other." But
they're just all together. Like our 3 kids, especially producer Morgan, her son Hart, Eli, and Farah are together all the time.
They really are. Well,
to where they're just like so. Yeah.
They love each other.
But they fight. Like they clock each other. They bite. It's like crazy.
But the beauty in all of that is that like I'm not only okay with you being like, Eli, we don't hit with the bowling pin, but I also know that you'll approach it in a style that I would do with him myself. So I think that's kind of like a big thing too. And I've heard from parents with older kids that that's like only amplified as kids get older.
I remember my mom used to like yell at, well, first of all, I had the house where like every neighborhood kid was at my house every day. And there were 4 of us plus all of our friends. It was literally like 12 kids at my house every day. And my mom and my dad were like, we can't like afford to feed. We're literally feeding all, which now I understand. Because when everybody eats at your house, you're like, wow,
kids are mooch. Yeah, they're moochers.
They're like, whoa, you like have to buy. Everyone has to buy so many blueberries and so many fucking berries.
Yeah,
so many yogurt pouches. Yeah. I'm like, if one more kid takes a yogurt, no, I don't actually.
No, but it's true. Every time
I remember my kid. I remember my mom being like, you guys seriously can't have everyone over every night. And we're like, why? It's so fun. She's like, because they're eating us out of house and home.
Yeah.
They used to say that all the time. They're eating us out of house and home.
Yeah. And it's really true.
And it's true, but like I just think it's so fun to have a bunch of kids around.
Oh, it's so fun. But you have to have snacks on deck.
Snacks are anything can be accomplished with a snack.
Yeah. You have to
fruit snacks. I mean, I know it's sugar. It's probably not great, but they're fucking obsessed with fruit snacks.
They're obsessed with them. They're a cure-all.
And as far as moms, like we just get together and we drink wine.
Yeah.
I mean, how excited are you to join us drinking wine? Okay, let's talk about your first drink. What is your first drink going to be with us?
An IPA. I cannot wait.
An IPA?
Yes.
You are so
Do you not see me wipe my face with drool every time?
You're obsessed with IPA.
I literally, every time Nick or Chase open one, I'm like, can I have a sip? Please?
Yeah. I do love a few sips, but like I don't like want to drink IPAs all day.
That'll be my first drink for sure.
You know it's good for milk production, beer.
Well, and when you're postpartum, one IPA, you're like, woo!
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like when you first have a kid, how you have a drink and you're like, I'm fucking hammered.
I remember the first one. My brother was over. I think he brought me a pack of IPAs. I don't even remember what kind it was. And I mean, I'm 2 weeks max postpartum, and I was so excited about my first IPA. And I drank maybe half of it, and I was like, "I'm good.
Like, I'm drunk.
Yeah, I'm good." Well, and you're with your first, especially.
Yeah, you're
like,
so scared.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember having margaritas when
that's second drink for sure. I can't wait.
Yeah, margaritas are like wine, margaritas, an occasional. I haven't done a martini since having Farah.
Yeah, I've never seen you drink
so
one.
Fucking intense. Like when I was not a mom, I used to crush martinis.
Oh,
they're good. 1 is never enough and 2 is way too many.
I wish that I liked
you
them.
literally have 2 and you're like, who are you? Why are you in my bed?
I wish I liked them.
They're dangerous.
I'm a tequila gal.
Well, I love tequila.
I'm a mezcal gal. I love mezcal.
Ooh, what are you? Do you have a fucking penis?
Mezcal and
your
IPAs,
with your
baby.
IPAs and your mezcal. What do you have, a dick? That is
fun. I'm a fun drinking buddy for guys.
Yeah.
But I'll drink wine. Don't get me wrong. I'm about to drink
like,
a lot
what
of
about
wine.
rosé, honey?
No,
what about like me and Morgan are like?
I'm about to drink a lot of wine with y'all.
Okay.
But I will.
I'm like, if you're like crushing mezcal and IPAs, what are you going to be farting and burping?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm excited for you to drink with us because I love drinking. Let's face it, guys.
I can't wait.
Fucking love drinking.
Well, what's
That's one of my
really
least favorite things
sweet-
about being pregnant, not drinking.
Yeah. What's real? Can you believe 3 weeks left before I can? What's really sweet? Morgan and I were talking about this the other night that we have, not all of us, but Spence and I have gotten close with y'all without any alcohol.
You've never had a drink.
And that's not to say that you have to, but a lot of times having drinks.
Oh, that's what a friendship's about.
Right. But
what are you talking about?
A lot of times that's how you get to know somebody.
Yes.
Like over drinks or whatever. And like, y'all
Me
are
and
literally
Morgan
who
have
I talk to all
Me and
day.
Morgan have never been in each other's presence without drinking. Do you understand that? Not once. We've always drank.
Well, but I think
And
it's
I'd like to
really
keep it that
cool
way,
that I like.
We still love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all don't even know.
Oh, I can't wait for this party to start.
It's gonna be so fun. I will say, I've prefaced with this before. I am the shot influencer. Like
Even now that we have kids, you want to do shots?
Oh, I'm not. It's not gonna be like a Thursday
Maybe
night
if
at
we
your
all
house.
go to like.
I'm not gonna be like, who
She's
wants
like,
tequila? But if it's like we have an opportunity to day
go
drink,
out.
or like we're about to get on the boat or something, and we're like, all right, one round.
I'll do a tequila shot. I'll do one. But I can't do shot. Like when I was in my 20s, I ripped shots all the time. When I worked at the bar that I worked in LA, I swear to God, we took like 13 shots of Jameson every single night. But I was
makes me
also
wanna
doing
die.
like tons of drugs. So I was like, doing Jameson and then like,
Yeah, no.
and just like fucking functioning like a psycho.
No, it would be like
I would get home and be like, did I work tonight? And they're like, yeah, you closed the bar. I'm like, cool, good to know.
Good. How much did I make? Oh my God. No, I will be the friend that's like, just one more, guys. I don't know though. I'm also about to have 2 kids. So
You're gonna have 2 kids. I
know. Again.
I don't know if
I'm
you're gonna be
look back on
ripping
this.
shots of tequila with 2 kids. I don't know. Maybe you are.
I can't remember if this was this episode that I said this earlier, but I will look back at this and laugh at myself. But all that to say, I can't wait to drink with y'all.
There will be a time where we're all not with our kids, and then
Yeah.
we'll take shots.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers
To tequila
Cheers to
shots.
3 more drinks or 3 more weeks until I can have some drinks.
Yeah, girl.
Woo! Woo!
Rock, rock, rock me, mama.